Hello, my little decorators. Today we are making Derpy Tiger cupcakes inspired by K-pop Demon Hunter. This particular buttercream design took a lot of trial and error because I didn't want them to look too overcomplicated, so we simplified them. The part of cake decorating that takes the longest for me is mixing all of the buttercream colors. I always start with my lightest color first and then move down to my darkest color. Today's recipe will be in the description below for free, along with a free download of all of the supplies we used today. Feel free to take a screenshot of all the different colors and supplies here as well. Now, if you're like me, I like having a template, something around the same size as my cupcake that I can use to reference my colors, my shapes, and the size of everything on my cupcake. I'm grateful that I did this because originally I started with Mentos for the eyes of my Derpy Tiger, and it turned out they were way too big, and so I had to move them down to this M&M size. And I also had marshmallows for the ears, but the large was too big. These small ones fit just perfect though. As you can see, adding more detail makes the Derpy Tiger look a little scarier and intense. So I opted for the simplified design where we're not gonna add the red around the eyes and we're gonna make those little teeth a little smaller. I like to start out by covering the base of my cupcake with a medium blue. This is gonna be the base of our Derpy Tiger, and you can make it into a circle, or on this particular cupcake, I'm making it into a rectangular square shape because Derpy has a very square shaped head. For a while now, I've been using paper towels or parchment paper to flatten my designs and smooth out my buttercream when I want a nice flat surface. The trick is not to put too much pressure on top of the buttercream. Just let it lightly cover the top and smooth out those lines. Next, we're going to be making the ears. I like to take a mini marshmallow and cut it diagonally to form 2 points. And then I'll take the sticky side of each of those points and place them facing forward on my design. That sticky part is going to get covered by a pink buttercream for the inside of the ear. And then you just want to nestle it into your buttercream. At this point, I'm using my drawing as a guide of where to place those little ears, and also using an original photo of Derpy Tiger to help me as well. Next, I'll take our pink buttercream, and I'm just going to do 2 squeezes. I'll squeeze with a harder pressure and then lighten the pressure as I pull up towards the point. That'll give me a little mini heart shape, but it's upside down to fit inside. You can smooth these 2 lines together with a spatula or a popsicle stick. I'm gonna just leave mine there because I don't think it's that big of a deal. I'm gonna do the same thing with the edges of the ear. You give a nice hard squeeze at the bottom and slowly taper your pressure as you come up towards the top. Pro tip, if you don't like how it's turning out, you could always take one of the ears off and do it again. My favorite part of decorating. Next we'll be applying the eyes. These are 2 yellow M&Ms. Make sure you put the M's on the opposite side or use a candy of your choice. Anything round and yellow will do. And mine kind of makes it look like a Funko Pop. And once we get those pressed into our base, I'm going to use that light buttercream, that light blue, to almost make eyeshadow on top of the eyes. And we're going to take our darkest blue and start making Derpy Tiger stripes. This one is going to go right above that eyelid or eyeshadow, light blue, and then we're just adding 2 stripes on top of that, getting smaller as we get to the top. This is going to create that illusion that his forehead is further away than his nose. Also in the movie, he has 3 dots going down the ridge of his nose. And then around his bright yellow eyes, we're going to add a little bit of dark blue to create almost like a eyeliner to make those eyes pop. This entire time I've been using a Wilton's number 3 icing tip. You can use a 2 or a 3, but I prefer 3 because it gives me more versatility. As your hand warms up your buttercream, you'll be able to squeeze a bigger stream of buttercream out as well. So that's why you'll see that I can make a lot of different sizes with the same piping tip. Using the ear technique, I made a small heart at the top of the mouth and a small tongue just by squeezing a little bit of buttercream. And last but not least, we have his cute fangs coming out the bottom. I can't decide if I like them curved over his mouth more or if I like them straight down. I think both options are really cute. It's just up to personal preference. Right? That is our square head, and then that one is our round. Last step, you could always add a little bit of white to the eyes to give it a little bit of shine. The next design we're making is going to be the potted plant that Derpy keeps on knocking over and then setting up. I'm using the Wilton 223 tip. It is a leaf tip where it looks like a bird beak, and I always say if you're going to feed the bird, you want to put it where the points are on the top and the bottom and point it towards your cupcake, squeeze, and then pull away while letting go of that pressure. It'll create this really pretty leaf texture, or it almost looks like a small triangle. This one, you'll see it sideways. If I put it sideways, I'll get a different texture. And it makes the plant look a little more dynamic if you change the direction of the leaf. And here I'm just filling it in. I added a dollop of white buttercream underneath to give it more of a round spherical shape on top. And then I'll just fill in around. I'm going to be adding flowers to our potted plant, so it doesn't have to be perfect. The Derpy Tiger in the background is the first version of what I made, and I love the tongue on it. I love the design. However, I realized that a simplified, smaller tongue would be able to be mass-produced a little bit better if you're having a big party. So these little flowers are the same way that you can make the tongue and also that little nose. You're just squeezing a blob of buttercream and then pulling it towards the center and letting go of the pressure once you get to the center of the flower. I'm not sure what kind of flowers they are in the show. If somebody knows, please let me know. I've had people tell me they're camellias or daisies, but petunias, but I'm not sure. They're just very small and dainty in the show and very cute. This particular one I just made with red buttercream, but you can add red, pink, yellow. The original one looked like a variety of flowers, so I'm just filling in all the spots that might be exposed. And then I'll add the center of the flowers. I wanted to add a little bit of yellow just to tie in the yellow from Derpy. You could always make, I only made a little bit, so I just cut my piping back and I'm doing a squeeze very gently and letting it touch the flower and then pulling away. So it's a little messy, but it still gets the illusion of that flower all together. You could use yellow buttercream for the eyes instead of M&Ms if you do not want candy. It's just a lot of buttercream to mix at once. Okay. All in all, I'm sure there's a million ways to make this design. I'd love to see what you guys come up with, but I wanted to just make a video of my version in case someone needed it. Thank you for watching, and if you do download my free recipe or free template, let me know how you like them. I'd like to start improving and making more templates so that people can make buttercream creations. All right, have a great day. Bye.